This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. It's Masters Thursday, everybody. Fun show ahead. We're doing much better than Dustin Johnson's back. Cowherd compares the movie Titanic to the NBA Finals and says we know how this movie will turn out with the Cavs and the Warriors in the finals at the end. Folks, you won't believe it, but Whitlock is with Dennis Rodman and explains that LeBron doesn't have to be tough to be Michael Jordan. Former NBA champ Eddie House is in the building, and he tells you we all need to stop comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan. Plus, NFL Hall of Famer Chris Carter breaks down why a new home could benefit the career of Richard Sherman. And finally, we discuss the Masters and Dustin Johnson withdrawing. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
Welcome to the show. Colin isn't sure the Warriors even need Kevin Durant.
And Jason thinks Tiger Woods' impact on golf was overblown. I got to hear this. Speak For Yourself starts right now.
I got to hear it, too. I didn't write that. I didn't say that.
Well, we'll see.
I said something similar. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by Hall of Famer Chris Carter, an NBA champ, former Boston Celtic, Eddie House. Let's start in the NBA, where Steph Curry had another stellar performance, dropping 42 points, and the Warriors held off the Suns to clinch the top seed in the West. Meanwhile, in the East, LeBron James and the Cavaliers dominated the Celtics, which should scare some people since LeBron said beforehand that the game was meaningless. Colin, is it inevitable that these two teams meet again in the finals?
Yeah, and I think everybody knows it, but if you cover the NBA for a living, you got 9 weeks to the finals, and you have columns to write. And I host a radio show for 8 weeks, and I have to create urgency. I think we all know. I feel a lot like, and by the way.
I'm not convinced.
Well, I am. I sometimes know the end of stuff. I just watched Apollo 13 with my son, and I've watched it 5 times. And I said, you want to watch a great movie? He asked me about space. I said, let's watch it. And he said, you know the ending. And I said, it's still great. And I've seen the Titanic 5 times. I know the ending. It's still great.
Titanic's not great. Anyway.
But the point being is, it's okay. I know now it's not going to help me for 9 weeks, but we all know the finish line. It's going to be the final. It should be the final. It's going to be a great final. I don't think the league loves that, but I think that's what we got.
Let me give you, we'll stick with your movie analogies. Godfather 1 was great. Godfather 2 was great. Godfather 3 was a dud. This could be a dud. The Cavaliers beating up Boston last night, to me, was meaningless. I agree with LeBron. Boston isn't the real threat in the East. I still think the Wizards could be a problem. I still think Toronto could be a problem.
You're going to beat LeBron 4 times in 2 weeks?
Listen, they can get into a funk. This is one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. I think the bottom 4 defensive teams in the NBA, the Cavs are the only good one. The Knicks, the Nets, and the Magic in the East. This is not a great defensive team. One of these Eastern Conference teams, maybe even the Miami Heat in the first round, could be a problem.
No, I don't see a problem. And there's no problem with us getting to the finals and getting the trilogy with Golden State and Cleveland. But what we don't know the narrative. Because the last 2 years, let's give it respect. The drama that rolled out in the playoffs. Also, there's going to be a significant injury, all right? So what? If Golden State gets there and Cleveland's going to be there, watch the narrative. That's the part in the 9 weeks that we have to continue to watch. Don't think that it's going to play out the way it has, because the last 2 years, we couldn't predict it. 2 years ago, what happened? Love goes down. Kyrie Irving goes down.
Right.
LeBron still wins 2 games. This past year, OKC gets ahead dramatically, get pulled down, lose the series. So the narrative is going to change regardless if we know who's going to be there in the finals, because there's going to be a significant injury and coaches and their lineup changes and what they do coming down the stretch.
I agree with you. There's going to be these teams in the finals, no doubt. The thing is, an injury can happen and change everything. And the injury bug has been biting Cleveland all year. The thing about Cleveland, they're finally getting healthy. You got to think all season long, they have not been healthy. And now they're getting Kevin Love back, J.R. Smith back, Kyle Korver back. This is the team that David Griffin had put together, now is coming to fruition. They put the Eastern Conference on notice last night, and the rest of the league on notice as well.
Remember, this is not March Madness. You got to beat this Cleveland team 4 times. Mm-hmm. Okay, 4. There's no way. Otto Porter, Bradley Beal, John Wall, Martin Gortat, not beating this team 4 times.
Right. This team can go into a funk. We've seen it before. I've seen LeBron James go into a funk.
In the playoffs?
Yes, against Boston years ago. Against
So you're
the
more
Dallas
concerned
Mavericks.
about Cleveland making it than you are Golden State?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, who's going to beat Cleveland then?
Listen, I just said Toronto. Anybody.
Toronto.
Anybody.
No way.
If you catch this team in a funk, it can happen.
They didn't hit the switch. They hit the switch. So and there was
against
one.
Boston.
Well, that's the
second best team in the East. That's the second best team. Everybody was talking about this. The only team that could dethrone the Cavs.
They played 3 games in 5 days.
They said it's the only team that could be able to beat the Cavs. That's who they talking about. Washington don't have enough.
We
don't
need
have
to put
enough
a little
down
wager,
low.
because your guy likes to wager. We need to put a little wager or something on them.
All right, well, LeBron may be on his way to another finals, but there's at least one person who's not impressed, Dennis Rodman. Oh, boy. Former Bulls star made it very clear he thinks LeBron isn't as tough as his old teammate, Michael Jordan.
LeBron's doing one thing that I always say that Michael Jordan never did. Never rested. He played every game. LeBron has the position to do this now because they need him. The league needs him. That's why he's doing all this crazy now. Like, and complaining and all this.
Yeah, Jordan never rested, except twice he did leave the sport, actually. But, Jason, do you agree with Rodman that today's very easy NBA means LeBron isn't tough?
Let me just put this on the record first. Whatever Sammy Sosa has, Dennis Rodman does not have it. He does not have that issue.
He got the opposite.
So, listen, I have to agree with Dennis just factually. Factually. The facts are it's easier now because the rules have changed and he doesn't have to be as tough as Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan got brutalized by the Detroit Pistons, by the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, so did Magic Johnson, so did Isaiah Thomas. That was the era.
I agree. But so to me, it's like saying you look at the quarterbacks now in the NFL. The rules have changed. It's much easier to play quarterback. You can't hit them. And so it was tougher to be Johnny Unitas or Joe Namath or Bart Starr than it is to be Tom Brady.
Oh, I don't buy that. First of all, you ever bought a used car?
Yeah.
Okay, I've had my whole life. I'm not a car guy. When you buy a used car, what do you look at?
I don't even care.
Mileage. Interior.
Odometer.
Yes.
Okay, odometer. So minutes. You guys are caught up in games. Let me show you some minutes.
Drop it on them, Colin.
Okay, here are minutes. This is the odometer of the NBA. He's already ahead of him with 7 years left. I don't care about games. What do I care about? I don't buy a car because how many days you drive it. How do I know how you drive?
I'm talking about getting knocked on your ass.
Oh, so LeBron never hits the floor?
Not the way Jordan did. They got a book called The Jordan Rules. It was
First
about
7
beating
years
up
in the
Jordan.
NBA, LeBron, Kobe, first 3 years barely played. LeBron was asked at 19 to carry a franchise. You know what Michael was doing? Playing college guys, regional travel, 30 games.
You know what we need to stop doing is comparing these two guys because they're two totally different players. Just because one is at the top of his game in this era and the other one's at the top of that don't mean they're the same player. They're totally different. And everybody keeps comparing these guys. And I think it's unfair to LeBron. It's also unfair to MJ because at the end of the day, these are two great players and we trying to compete and compare and see who's better. It's going to be a debate that's going to be never ending. It's who do you like? Now, is he tough? You can't say that man ain't tough. He go out there and play. And you go out there and play he don't play every night, but when he does, he plays hard. And it doesn't matter if he doesn't play every night. Look at the minutes he has.
It's incredible.
I hate the discussion from era to era. Could this guy played in that era? I'm only responsible for the era I played in. So for me, I don't criticize the receivers now because they don't get hit in their head going across the middle because you can only jam them at 5 yards at the line of scrimmage. No, that doesn't make me better because I played in the 80s, 90s, and early in the 2000s. No, those are the rules that govern today's game. And last but not least, who is listening to Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman's a Hall of Fame basketball player.
Okay, listen.
He won championships.
That doesn't make him an expert. And at the end of the day, what difference does it make who's the toughest? Okay, Joe Montana, you think he's tougher because he played in the 80s and 90s than Tom Brady?
I'm saying...
Is he tougher than Tom Brady? No, we don't care.
Here's what Dennis Rodman's saying that I agree with, and there's very little I agree with on Dennis Rodman. Jordan's path harder than LeBron's path.
What does that have to do?
No, I don't buy it. First of all,
what does that have to do with anything, though? What does his path? What does his path have to do? He scores the bat. His job is to make his team better, right?
Score the basketball.
Feet. That's what he does.
If you and
who cares about whose path is easier or not?
If you and I end up on a plane in first class, does United charge me more or less based on my childhood versus yours? We both afforded first class. LeBron, Michael, Hall of Famers. Who gives a rip that my dad's life was harder than my life? If you're happy at the end, you're happy.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure my son's life not as hard as mine. That's why I'm here hustling right
now. Look, this never, and it's never going to end, the Jordan versus LeBron debate. And so you get down into degree of difficulty
Let me tell you
to try to survive.
Okay, let's end it with
Jordan's path
Which
is harder.
athlete would you rather be? If you could pick one athlete, which one?
Without question. I want to be Michael Jordan.
Okay, and that's all right. But if I got one body, I want to be LeBron James.
Yes.
Now, y'all can call me soft. Y'all can call me a bunch of things. 4-letter words, and if I'm built like that, you can call me whatever you want.
And let me tell you something else about Michael. Now, Michael was great, but Michael twice left the sport for over a year and a half. Now, there were varying degrees. Yeah. Some said gambling. Probably his father.
Michael stayed up all night. The dentist telling LeBron, we need you to do that. Stay up all night so you can
By the way,
yourself
we
out.
talk about how LeBron, first of all, Michael never dealt with social media. Michael quit the sport twice, got emotional breaks. LeBron's playing more minutes. Now, the game isn't as physical, but now it's more cardio. You're up and it's a track meet now. This tough thing is overrated.
It's way overrated.
I'm finesse all the way and
Magic
proud.
Johnson and Larry Bird.
Different eras.
No. I'm just saying. LeBron James has faced no one on their level.
Is that his fault? Is that his fault?
No, that's his fault. His mom had him at that time.
Is that his fault?
No, I'm not blaming it. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault.
You can't
I'm saying the degree of difficulty for Jordan was harder.
LeBron had a hard time getting out of fourth grade, man.
Wait, you know how hard it is to win a championship? I don't care what kind of path you got. You know how hard it is, and do you know how hard it is to go back-to-back, something that he did? So there's no such thing as the degree of difficulty for somebody who wins a championship.
Michael would go to the finals.
I don't care what the path was.
Every 3 years, he'd take some time off. LeBron's going to make it to his 7th straight finals run. How is he still playing these minutes? It's incredible. No break for him in there to play minor league baseball.
Let me tell you something. Eddie doesn't think I know anything about winning championships. My 6th grade football team won it all.
All right, welcome back. Chris Carter's here, now joined by Raiders 2-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman, the tackle Donald Penn. Great having you in, man. Let's go to Oakland, where reports that Marshawn Lynch wants to join the Raiders have been overshadowed by another report stating the team owes as much as $800 large in unpaid parking revenue to the Coliseum Stadium Authority. The debt, if it remains unpaid, could prevent the Raiders from playing in the Coliseum, which they plan to do for the next 2 years before moving to Vegas. All right, Whitlock, will the Raiders' off-field distractions, and there are a few now, starting to add up, hurt them on the field?
Yeah, I really think it could, and distraction is the right word. There's going to be so much conversation in Oakland about the move, the hostility of the fans there. I think it's going to be hard to focus and blot everything out and just concentrate on football. And I'm a little bit concerned for Donald Penn and the Raiders because you got this great young quarterback and this great offense. You may add Marshawn Lynch, and you could screw up this window over the next 2 years with all this controversy swirling around the team.
Here's the one thing, though. The NFL's crazy. Just to show you the value of the quarterback, if I said you can have the Houston Texans right now, they have a great stadium, they have a great roster, they got great defense, they got real stability, they've been drafting well. They can't get the quarterback right. Or I'm going to give you the Raiders. They got Derek Carr. And the rest of it, there's some issues. You'd be like, well, I'll take the Raiders. Like, I think they got the quarterback so right. I think he's the next Aaron Rodgers. I think they got the quarterback so right. It's just, I call LeBron the human eraser. He erases a bad GM. He erases bad defense. I think Derek Carr in the AFC now.
This won't matter. The distractions won't matter.
Big Ben's not the same. Peyton's done. Houston has the
This
roster.
won't matter.
I don't think it's going to matter.
Man, Raiders, I feel like players, we get paid to play football. We don't get paid to read the media and read the hype. And since I've been in the league, you know, at first it wasn't all this media and Twitter stuff. Now it's all this stuff. So one of the first things you get told as a player, don't read the hype. Don't read the clippings. Focus just on football. And that's going to be like this in the next 2 years. We're going to be focusing just on football. We can't read all the hype.
Go ahead. No, just hate to cut you off, but I think that the Raiders, because of people like him, they have better leadership than they've had the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Not only in the front office, but on the field. They got the quarterback right, but they also have a good group of core guys. The reason why we couldn't see it last year, because we were so focused when the quarterback got hurt that the Raiders had lost. They couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. So we don't really examine their leadership. We don't examine their overall talent. That's a talented football team. And all the problems you talked about, they're not the players' problems. Yeah, I know about the 800,000. It's like when you leave college. You say, I'm going to leave college early. Ohio State sends you a note. You owe us for parking tickets now. You got a free few meals, so you need to pay that up before you leave. So you just pay them. That's not the players going to be a distraction.
Tell me this, though. What's it going to be like going into that stadium and Raiders fans are unique. And I would imagine there'll either be a lot less fans there or the fans that will be in there will be hostile towards the team.
I'm not worried about the fans. I'm not worried about that at all. We had fans coming my first 2 years there when we weren't winning. My first year there, we won 3 games. The stadium was still sold out on a couple of games. Not every game, but last year, stadium was sold out every game. The place was rocking. Raider Nation, we go to Tennessee, it's an Oakland Raider game, home game. We go to San Diego, it's an Oakland Raider home game. I'm not worried about the fans. Our fans, they come packing.
And I would argue the Raiders are so unique that even when they won titles, they were a little dysfunctional.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's almost plays to their brand.
That was kind of their shtick.
It was.
Dysfunctional players, add veteran players, yes.
I mean, this is not like this formidable, New England Patriots, Alabama. It's off the rails. The Raiders I think, are almost more comfortable in the space of the league hates us. We're not all buttoned up. We got some rebels. We're outspoken. Our stadium's a mess. By the way, they were 11-3 last year, and they had the worst stadium at 11-3 last year.
I look at it like this, too. New England's dealt with a lot of adversity, and all they do is win. So give us a little adversity. We're winning right now, and let's keep it going, because I want to keep winning.
I think one thing in your favor is Jack Del Rio does kind of have a screw-everything attitude and will probably be the perfect coach for this environment in terms of building that us-against-the-world mentality.
I mean, that's the mentality we go into every game with. That's the mentality we play. We play hard. Our coach mentality is we're going to outwork everybody and win our games Monday through Saturday, not on Sunday. The work we put in during the week wins our games on Sunday. And that's how it goes. Before the game, he's like, we already won this game. We did it all during the week. That's our mentality going in there. And Jack grew up just like me, a Raider fan. So I feel like it hurt him a little bit, knowing that we're going to have to move, because when he came and took this job, he took the job as the Oakland Raider coach.
All right, to Seattle, where the Seahawks confirmed this week that they have fielded trade offers for Richard Sherman. Apparently, Sherman's brother, Branton, thinks the trade rumors might actually be good for the star corner, saying, quote, "This is the new chip Richard is going to use. He's going to be like, you think you can trade me? I'm going to show you guys that you would even talk about trading me. This is a new obstacle mentally." Colin, will these trade rumors actually have a positive impact on Richard Sherman?
I think Richard's good. I think actually sometimes to a player, rumors never help a marriage. They're never good, okay? Sometimes a new marriage is good, but the rumors of an affair aren't good. So I would say that sometimes a player does need a new place. And when he gets a new place, he really plays an elevated level of football. Darrelle Revis went to New England. It was I'm going to show you you made a mistake. I do think players, sometimes they're better served going the opposite of Derek Jeter. Their personalities are different. They like a little chaos. They like a new... But I've never wanted to work at a company and there's constant rumors I'm leaving the company. Like, that doesn't feel like... I'd rather you trade me or keep me, not talk about it. For me.
Sherman's a unique dude. If you remember in 2012 when he kind of burst onto the scene, Tom Brady said, "Come see me after the game." And Richard Sherman went out and balled out, and he saw Tom Brady after the game. "You mad, bro?" And he put it out over social media and all that. This is a guy that kind of likes being backed into a corner. I think whether he sticks in Seattle or goes someplace else, I think because of this offseason, he'll have a throwback Richard Sherman type season. Maybe the last one he ever has where he is clearly the best corner in the league. I agree with his brother. I think this is going to work for him.
Well, I think that Richard will use it as motivation, but also Richard will also look back on this season and realize that those altercations I got into with the coaches and trying to call offensive plays, I better stay in my lane. He has 2 years left on his contract, and if he wants to play beyond that and get another contract, they gave him a warning. Now, Colin used the example as far as a divorce. Yeah, I'm going to tell you the best advice. Don't warn him if you're going to leave. Just leave. Yes. So, in warning Richard Sherman, yes, you've gotten his attention. You've also warned him that you could be out of here. One of his best friends, Marshawn Lynch. The reason why he quit playing, he was tired of football. He was tired of Seattle. He was sick of what they did to him in the Super Bowl by not handling the ball by throwing that pass. He took that personal. So he walked away from the game. So Richard has seen them. He's seen them take parts of the team and break it up. He knows Pete is very, very serious about it. And Pete confirmed, Snyder, general manager, got on top of that. So they sent a dual message to him, not only the coach, but the general manager in their control of the players. So I think they warned him. They gave him a warning before they depart for ways with him and try to trade him.
You know me, I think a new place like the Raiders would be nice. I also think...
See, y'all talking about the Raiders, man. The Raiders guys still want to go to the Raiders. They don't care they moving.
Exactly. But, I kind of went through this situation when I left Tampa. I had 8 great years in Tampa. I love Tampa. I will always be a home to me. But when they cut me and I went to Oakland, it was a fresh start. I was mad I got cut. I've had 3 of my best seasons I've had my whole career, and it might be a thing because I got cut. I use that as motivation. I'm an undrafted free agent. I use that as motivation every day. Richard Sherman, if he goes to another team, he's going to use that as motivation. I know him. I know that type of guy. He's from the same city as me. He's from L.A. I know him.
Richard's an interesting player in that I could see a team of young people, like a Tampa right now, where you really like their young players, and a coach saying, okay, Pete may be worn out from him, but, his arc may work with a young team like Tampa that needs leadership. Richard would be a very interesting player. If I was a coach in the NFL and I'm like, man, I like my young team, but boy, I could use, if I'm the Raiders, I got Derek Carr talking on offense, I'd like to have a guy talking on defense.
There's a bunch of teams could use Richard Sherman.
Yeah, I think, but I do think with what you've said and what Eric Wright said, maybe his Seattle arc, it's best served to leave. He has been great. They have loved him. But Pete Carroll now, you're seeing in some of this video, he's not comfortable with where Richard Sherman's at.
Listen, I think the latest reports today were that Seattle has not only let it be known he's trade bait, they've been out seeking a trade.
Right. Yes.
And so, to me, either Richard's going to be backed into a corner and going to play his tail off this year, or it seems more like I think they're going to move him this offseason. And I agree. I think a lot of people would love a motivated Richard Sherman. And again, I'll go back to the New England Patriots, the Oakland Raiders. Any team that wants to try to win next year, win now, why not go out and get Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman's given up 12 touchdown passes since he's been in the league. Patrick Peterson's been in the league the same time, same draft, give up 28 touchdown passes. So you don't think Richard Sherman can't play. Richard Sherman can play.
And he's a playmaker. He gets the ball back.
I'll tell you one thing. You probably know this too, Chris. Right now, with Richard hearing all this stuff, his trainer, he's probably working out so hard right now. He's probably putting in so much work and extra work because he wants to come back and prove everybody wrong.
And he's aware of the media.
Whitlock, he's making you look good as an offensive lineman, bro. Really? We need more offensive linemen on the show.
All right, welcome back. Chris Carter and Jason McIntyre are back. Let's move to Augusta National, where the Masters just lost another star after Tiger Woods announced last week he wouldn't play at his favorite tournament. The world's top-ranked player, Dustin Johnson, injured his back, falling down a flight of stairs last night and withdrew after walking off the first tee today. Colin, who's a bigger loss for the Masters, Tiger Woods or Dustin Johnson?
Actually, all time we know who's the best player, but Dustin, to me, there's something real here. I mean, cocky, emotional, melts down, beautiful wife, a little inappropriate, has a past. I mean, I'm a casual golf fan. I watch the U.S. Open, I watch the Masters, I watch the British Open. When I heard Dustin wasn't playing, I'm like, I'm not sure I'll watch. That's what Tiger did to me. Like Jordan Spieth's great, didn't get me to a TV. Rory's great, didn't get me to a TV. Dustin gets me to a TV.
He ain't got the complexion for the connection here. Tiger Woods is history, man, and he was African-American history. He was chasing Jack Nicklaus. You know, anytime Tiger Woods is in a golf tournament, it drops a couple levels. Dustin Johnson's great, but he's just not Tiger Woods.
There is no replacement for Tiger Woods. We've been talking about this the last 10 years. Oh, this guy's the next Tiger Woods. No, he's not. Justin Spieth, he's the next Tiger Woods. No, he's not. Dustin Johnson, he will be in that same category. He will be a very good golfer, but not Tiger Woods. And not because the color of his skin. It's the magnitude and energy he brings to the golf course. I was telling you guys during the break, this is the first Masters I probably missed in the last 15 years. I've missed a couple of the other Masters where Tiger wasn't there. Tiger controls the ticket pricing. He controls the galleries. His tee times are the most watched. You can watch the golf course basically tilt when Tiger goes on a run. Also, everyone was trying to dress like Tiger. People were trying to wear the same shoes as Tiger, same apparel, everything. Dustin Johnson, what clubs does he play with?
I have no idea.
Okay, what shoe deal does he have? All right, he plays with TaylorMades, and the shoe deal's with Adidas. But you have to tell people that. Tiger Woods, you didn't have to. And besides all the other influence, when Tiger Woods goes on the golf course, at any tournament, it could be record-breaking. And anytime he's in a major, if he wins, he's one closer to Jack. So when you take that away from the field, that's the biggest draw.
I would normally agree with all that, Chris. However, historically, I would agree. Tiger, yes, no doubt. But what Dustin Johnson's done for golf the last couple years, right now he's hot. He is that hot band that everybody wants to see. As you said, the beautiful wife. Hey, Vegas gamblers love him. Is it only fiance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So in Vegas, he's the most bet gambler at the Masters. That's who everybody was on, Dustin Johnson. They wanted him. They wanted a piece of him, and they thought he had a shot. And I think they're going to miss him a lot this week.
I really do. You know, it's funny. The two guys I've loved in golf are Tiger and Dustin. And because they made golfers uncomfortable. They swore, they threw a club, they were emotional. Golf tends to think everybody's a golfer. Golfers love Jordan Spieth. Guys like me who are casual liked everybody the opposite of him. Tiger threw a club. Dustin's got issues. That's what I want.
He's like John Daly with a better putter.
They're like real athletes that happen to be golfers.
Yes.
And they happen to be the best two athletes that have participated in golf the last 50 years. Dustin Johnson being the second, Tiger Woods being the best athlete.
This is the Speak for Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Folks, we are off tomorrow, so have a wonderful weekend. Remember, subscribe to the podcast. If you missed any, listen to them this weekend. Really strong week for the show. Hit us up with questions. Talk to you Monday.